Hello, I'm Daryl Dakers. Welcome to a new season of Palmetto Scene. As we head into the fall of 2020, we find ourselves in a place we never imagined we'd be, still in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. Our lives and lifestyles have been forever changed by this virus, but we are moving forward as we seek to establish a new normal. In this episode of Palmetto Scene, we'll take a look at a few determined individuals who are using their talents to push through the COVID-19 crisis. First, meet Lola, one of the few female drivers in the male-dominated trucking industry, where she shares her passion, her experience, and her advice as an essential worker.
I was about 8 years old, and my family was traveling from New York to Massachusetts, and I saw this lady truck driver get out of her truck, and she was blonde and a tiny little thing, and I was like fascinated. Ever since then and for the rest of my life, all I ever wanted to be was a truck driver. I'm like, if that lady can do it, I can do it too. Well, my name is Lola Salas. I am a professional truck driver here at Hunter. I mainly take containers from the rail yard over to the terminals, to the ports. A typical day runs 12 hours, and I will go back and forth picking up from the rail yards, taking them to the port, and then vice versa. Oh yeah, just like every human being, we do get tired. I work 70 hours a week, but I love what I do. I love being a truck driver. I do it with a lot of passion. This is a great job. For anybody that hates being in an office, this is a great opportunity. I couldn't think of anything else I'd rather do. Prior to becoming a truck driver, I used to work as a cashier, and I went to Intech in Mayagüez, Puerto Rico to become a professional truck driver. The training was for 3 months, 6 days a week for 14 hours a day. Intense training, actually. This is hard work. The first year is going to be really, really hard. The pay is going to be low. You're going to get the worst runs, but if you stick with it, it's going to pay off, I promise you. My biggest challenge in my job are the four-wheelers, which are the cars. Most people mistakenly believe that because we have 18 wheels, we have 18 brakes, and we can brake at the drop of a dime. We can't. I leave a space between me and the vehicle in front of me on purpose. That's a cushion in case that car brakes. I have enough space to safely stop my vehicle and not hurt anybody. But people think like, oh, she's not paying attention, I'll just scoot in there and you just cut my distance. So I have to keep backing up. And it's very dangerous when people do that, when they see that space and they just come and cut in. That's very dangerous. Please don't. I wish they didn't do that. What do I like most about my job is the people. You meet so many people from so many different backgrounds. I have great co-workers. We help each other out. It's wonderful, yeah. This is a great job for women, especially now. When I started, it was really, really hard for me to get into the trucking industry, but now it is so easy. It's a great opportunity. You work independently. You're in your truck by yourself. You're safe. I can tell you this, that I do earn more than a person working in a factory. I really love my job. I wish we had more women.
My work in itself did not change. What did change was the hours. When everything shut down, the work was very scarce. It really dropped considerably, and that really hits the pocket because nothing else stops. You still have to pay the rent, you still have to pay the car payment, you still have to pay the insurance, and that concerns. But either way, by the grace of God, I was able to pay all my bills. Because I never lost a day of work. I did lose hours, so I just tightened my belt a little bit. My work is really important, especially during these times. Many people depend on us just the same way we depend on doctors and nurses and scientists. They depend on us to keep America running, to keep the supply chain, because if we stop, then who's going to bring it to you? Who's going to bring it to America, basically, you know? We can't do it without the drivers. For me, it really breaks my heart to see so many humans dying because of an invisible monster. The whole world is suffering by this, and it really hurts me. Some of us believe that this is a conspiracy theory. Some of us believe that, this is another country's fault. Some of us believe that this is just a bunch of BS. Whatever it is, just protect yourself. Just protect yourself. For example, the mask over my face, it drives me nuts, especially I wear glasses. It drives me crazy. My glasses fogs up. It's very annoying, but you know what? I'm going to put it on. It's just 15 minutes while I go to the store, and if it's going to protect myself or make somebody else comfortable, if it makes them safe, I'm gonna do it. That's my fellow person. I really don't care for it, but somebody else does. So you know what? If I can make another person comfortable, so be it. And it might just help me. I don't know. Washing your hands, just take the time, wash your hands, take extra precautions to protect yourself, protect your family, protect your fellow co-worker. It's here. It doesn't matter who made it, how it got here, it's here. And I don't want it to stay. And I'm sure that you don't want it to stay. So if we all put our little grain of sand, maybe we can actually not only flatten the curve, but we can actually make it disappear. Yeah, it's just a lot of sense of pride for me. Especially everything that I've gone to become a truck driver as a female driver, and that now I'm needed, that I am actually considered an essential worker, that I did not lose a day of work. Oh, that's a lot of pride. That is a lot of pride.
I can't forget that I'm a girl. Us girls love this.
Next, an individual who has dedicated his life to promoting tennis in underserved communities. Domino Boulware, a South Carolina Tennis Hall of Fame inductee, helps to make tennis a reality and a vehicle for change throughout the Palmetto State.
Follow through, George, I need you to follow through. I need you to follow through for me, okay? Here we go.
Nice shot. Ready? Go.
On any given Saturday morning, you can find Domino Boulware setting up tennis courts, preparing to teach the game of tennis to underserved youth. Domino says he learned early on that tennis could make a difference, and he wanted to give back.
Being an underserved child myself, coming out of community housing in Saxon Home, I thought that it's always important to give back, reach back, and try to encourage other youth, because this is a non-traditional sport in African American community. Everybody used to playing basketball and football and baseball. And this inspired me because I thought it was a little different, allowed me to think on my feet. So it allowed me an opportunity to get a little exercise, build some confidence, and meet new people.
Domino says tennis has given some of the youth he works with a vehicle to expand their horizons as well.
We encourage kids to come to play tennis, to play high school tennis, to get a college scholarship, and most important to our program to be productive citizens. They get a chance to talk along racial lines and meet other folks in different communities like country clubs outside of the great state of South Carolina. These kids will travel in what we call the southern section of 9 different states to have competition. So they got an opportunity to meet children from all walks of life and different backgrounds.
Over the years, Domino's work promoting tennis to underserved communities would take him all over the Palmetto State, working with different groups like the Sumter Tennis Club.
I want tennis to be a successful venture for me because with me starting to find a cause to go to, and that's going to be my way. I get a scholarship and go through college, and that's how I'll be able to pursue my dreams.
Domino is a great role model for us all, not only for the students, but also for everyone, all of the adults who come out and volunteer, because he's given his life to helping others. And so for the students in particular, I am selfish because I want them to develop a passion for tennis, which is a great sport that they can play for life. And it's important for their physical health and well-being. It teaches life skills like patience, perseverance, and problem solving.
Domino Bowear has been a tremendous help to the Sumter Tennis Club. He brings years of experience. He is making sure that we're doing with the kids what needs to be done. He comes all the way from Columbia to work with our children. Tennis is also an excellent way to get out. Plus it teaches you integrity and perseverance and allows you to learn the ethics of all different types of sport.
It's teaching them life, discipline, and also the healthy aspect of it, stamina, running. I've known Domino Bowear for over 30 years, and he has been very committed to tennis. In the Greenview area there, he was a idol. Everybody knew Domino, that he was one of the first blacks that was really promoting tennis in the community park area.
This program is important for my child because my child deserves the right to have every opportunity afforded to them. If she wants to play tennis and those opportunities are actually provided, the only thing they have to do is step into those shoes, take advantage of it, and get it done.
Domino also takes his tennis leadership to the St. George, South Carolina Tennis Center, which was started by Barbara Jones.
He's very humble, so he probably hasn't told you, but he was inducted into the South Carolina United States Tennis Association Hall of Fame. And for him to come down, he volunteers his time. You know, we have a very tiny budget, and he's at least an hour away from us. So we really appreciate it, and the kids are benefiting so much. Also in the summertime, I knew that the children had not much to do. Our school district is Title I, so the income is very low. So families don't have a lot of extra money to spend on extracurricular activities. So if we had a program, we could really enrich their lives.
Tennis should be like education, colorblind, and I think the tennis have reached out in underserved community. Just need to do more, and African Americans need to do more by reaching towards USTA South Carolina to get involved with tennis. And I encourage every person that's listening to this interview to get your children, your family involved with tennis, because it's a great and awesome sport for health.
All right, bring your line right here. Ready? Come on.
Full disclosure, Domino is a cherished longtime friend and former SCETV employee, and we are mighty proud of him. Up next, Desiree Cheeks introduces you to a talented artist advocate from our own backyard. Desiree?
Thanks, Beryl. What you see behind me is one of the many beautiful public parks that we enjoy each day in the cities throughout our state. Unfortunately, to some, it is a place called home. Across the nation and even here in South Carolina, homelessness has been and continues to be a major issue. Kalita Harris, an up-and-coming documentary filmmaker, has chosen to tackle this issue, using her art form to advocate for those with no voice, no hope, and no address.
Our connection, human connection, is so important for people, and that's where we have to step in as humans. But I love doing that. That feeds my soul, and it feeds their soul, because they're giving me life and I'm giving them life. My very first production was an organization called Kids Foundation, and they're a nonprofit, and they asked me to do a marketing video for them because they dealt with human trafficking and sex trafficking for kids. So what they wanted me to do was create a marketing video to get funding to go into other countries to rescue children. And when I did that one, it just kind of blossomed, and they got the money that they needed to and the funding that they needed. And I was like, I'm serving a purpose at the same time, you know? So that's like my heartstrings, doing meaningful work and nonprofits and people to make a difference, and seeing my work help make that difference. That's kind of where I was sold. So I'm always like, you know, very passionate and compassionate for people that come to me with, you know, meaningful work. One day I read in the newspaper that Columbia City Council wanted to do something about their homeless situation. And there were 3 options. So one was just leave town. The other one was to go to a shelter on the outskirts of town, or be subject to jail if you're caught on the streets. And I said, what? That's your solution? You know? So it really just hit me hard because, like I said, I'm an empath, and what if I'm in their shoes? I could feel. So I said, what if I had to just leave town and just disappear? How would I feel about that? So I said, I want to do something about it. I have a production company. I have all the tools, you know, so let me just start documenting what's around me. So that's kind of how it started, and it was just one story after another story, and then it, you know, how the degree of separation was so close, so I kept meeting people that were in this circle of influence, that were activists, and then they led me to the next and to the next. So that's how this just whole thing blossomed, and you know, 7 years later, No Address Part 1 is a series now.
I don't think it should be a crime for being homeless.
It's more like out of sight, out of mind.
How do you criminalize somebody's situation?
They're called ordinances, but they're usually city laws that make it a crime to sleep in public, to sit in public, to lie down in public, to sleep in a car, to beg for help, to eat sometimes in public. I mean, they just take a variety of different forms.
They was talking about rounding homeless people up and put them in something like a concentration camp.
Our literature says 3.5 million people. If people knew the true number of homeless people, if we documented that true number of homeless people, we don't have the resources to address the problem. And that is a statement directly from an elected official.
Since 1995, the Department of Housing and Urban Development has not given us any money to build housing.
Gentrification is the only housing policy that this city has. Atlanta's housing policy is gentrification. That's it.
I want to do more for myself and getting myself out of this homelessness so I can pay for me a home.
But when you have no address, getting just a decent, regular, scheduled job, virtually impossible.
Oh, it taught me a lot about myself, that I am resilient, you know, that I am more compassionate than I thought, that I am supposed to be in this place, that it is divine. You know, everything that I asked for happened. It made me become more of an advocate, so I call myself the visual voice for the community. So now it's like my life's work, it's my journey. So even putting the camera down, this is what I want to do. So I want people to know what homelessness is first. What does it mean to not have an address? And it means everything. And what does it mean to criminalize someone without an address? And then I want action. I want something to stir up in you to say, I've laid out steps how you can take action. So start implementing those in your life, and maybe we can have a better society.
This season on Palmetto Scene, we'll highlight some of the truly extraordinary women of the Palmetto State. Women featured in the Women Vision 2020 program. Produced by former SCETV President Linda O'Brien and Upstate ETV's William Richardson, this series focuses on issues affecting women throughout the state and the nation. At the same time, it provides a platform to celebrate these trailblazing South Carolina women as they pursue public service. Tonight's honoree, T. Lily Littlewater.
I think it's something intangible and inexplicable that drives me. It feels like there are also 1,000 ancestors in my heart that are constantly giving me a nudge in this way or that way. They always give me direction.
That direction has led T. Lily Littlewater to 30 years of conducting social justice campaigns for Native Americans. She is CEO of the South Carolina Indian Affairs Commission, where she organized the Indigenous Women's Alliance Committee. She's also supported veterans, families, and children. She says her ancestors give her direction, but the path is not always clear.
There are so many directions to go in the Indian community and with any kind of human rights, especially Native American rights, because there are so many things that need to be resolved. The human rights violations that are continually happening in the American community currently are Indian child removal, and that would be unethical Indian child removal. So many Indian children, Native American children, are removed from their parents because, for one thing, poverty is not neglect. It's misunderstood that the opportunities are their value systems that they learn in their tribes and in their ceremonies that they grow up experiencing.
She also cites serious issues faced by American Indian women.
It's a very hard thing to talk about. There are almost 6,000 missing and murdered American Indian women throughout the United States and Canada. As a matter of fact, one of the hot spots that we have learned about is on the border of North and South Carolina.
These and other issues motivate Littlewater to do whatever she can to raise awareness on human rights and challenges arising from poverty. From organizing powwows to preserve and strengthen the Native American culture, to lobbying for legislation to make a difference, and even to being arrested.
The first time that I went to jail, I was 17 years old, and I was protesting the development of South Carolina barrier islands and some of the ecosystems there. And that was a little bit scary then. I was very young. I had no idea what I was really getting myself into. I just knew that it was something that had to be done. And when something has to be done to make changes, sometimes you have to do extreme things.
Littlewater is from one of the tribes of the Lakota, the Seven Council Fires.
I am Minikanju Achedisakoan. That is what some people call a part of the Sioux tribe. My father is Irish, which I'm equally proud of, and also he came originally from Cape Fear Indians in North Carolina, which are now a part of the Lumbee. I'm a military brat. More Native Americans serve in the United States Armed Services than any other ethnicity per populace. And I had the privilege of living outside of the United States, Tehran American School, and it taught me a much broader horizon as a Native American person. So I was able to relate to their love of culture and the love of their land.
And that love of culture has developed into a keen sense of humanity.
I think it is a bit instinctual. I think that it comes also from my traditional values, in that I relate to everyone as a relative. I especially learned this from my father. He was one of those people who would sit on the side of your bed and tell you stories until you went to sleep. And he would often tell me stories of great people. And he would always say, before I would go to sleep, Terry, don't be a follower, be a leader. Be like one of these people. And so I got a lot of that from him.
For more stories about our state and more details on the stories you've just seen, please visit our website at palmettoscene.org. And of course, don't forget to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, at SCETV, #PalmettoScene. We leave you with tonight's Palmetto postcard from one of the Lowcountry's newest parks. For Palmetto Scene, I'm Beryl Dakers. Good night. Stay strong, and thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm Michael Bradley, and welcome to Stono River County Park. The public has a need and a desire for open space and preserved land. And Charleston County Parks wants to provide safe, family-friendly, fun, outdoor space. It's a 1.5 mile trail from the trailhead where the restrooms are. It does have a beautiful walk over a wonderful marsh view, a 1,000-foot boardwalk that takes you out to an island into the Stono River where there's a nice nature trail that goes around that island. It is an unmanned facility. It serves as a bit of a destination for the West Ashley Greenway and those that like to bike and run and walk on that greenway. Kind of an end point where there's some restrooms, water, there's even a bike repair station, a little place to picnic. We are right along the Stono River, so you're going to see all kinds of marsh life. It has been very popular for birding. There's been all sorts of birds out here in the marsh, flying over the island. It's a wonderful park. We hope that everybody continues to enjoy it, and please come see us.